Hello, Saints Nation. So, the final week is upon us. The final time for the black and gold brown to rock across the screen because she's just so helpful. Oh, we're going to do it again, Midas? Okay. I just played better defense than the Saints have most of this season. That's right. That just happened. Okay, now I could re record, but I'm not a serious content creator, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to stick this little fuzzy jerk over here. So, like I was saying, final week for the Saints. Last game of the year. Oh, what a year. So, what's my optimism for this game? How do we have this game be fun? Um, One, like on the first hand, I'm just going to talk about like actual football things that would make the game genuinely fun. A full game or even three quarters of the first half last week from Spencer Rattler and the team as well, because like guys don't drop passes. That probably is a different game. Would make the game fun, win or lose. Like the Bucks scored 50 last time. It, I'm going to do more on this after the season, and we'll have a kind of off-season schedule video here coming pretty soon. But look, they don't win that first game against the Bucks just if Derek Carr starts. Like if you believe that, you're drunk. They scored 50. Like they probably could have scored more. You're not winning that game. So, like, get that out of your head. I don't think they're winning this game. Doesn't mean it can't be fun. If Rattler, especially if Olave plays or AK plays or both, but even without, if Rattler is able to, show more promise and do some good things, and especially if Clint Kubiak can show that he has some ability to scheme up some counters to blitzes and pressure, it could be a fun game, like just for football reasons. If they manage to get a couple of sacks on Baker or get a pick or things like that, like those are football reasons where the game can be fun. That's not why I'm optimistic and why I'm gonna have as much fun as possible for this game. Because I'm not sure any of those things are gonna happen. It'd be awesome if they did, but like relying on them at this point doesn't really seem wise. Here's here's kind of where I am most looking for this game to be fun and where I'm most optimistic. The worst case in this game is that the team looks bad, but somehow wins, and that all of the teams they would need to lose to get a better draft spot lose, and they still end up with like the 10th overall pick or 12th or 13th or something like that. Like that's the worst case scenario where you play like crap, but you still win, but all the stuff you needed to go your way that you didn't think was going to go your way went your way. So you just screw yourself. Like that's the worst case scenario. There is no positivity. It'd be one thing if you're playing the Falcons because at least you can say, no matter what, we dropped our nuts on the Falcons. Like last season, bad team, bad season, dumb win, but you dropped your nuts on the Falcons, and then Da ruined it. But you dropped your nuts on the Falcons. Like that has some intrinsic value. No one cares about the Bucks. Bucks fans don't care about the Bucks. They're a better run organization than the Saints at this point. Better coach, better quarterback, better insert X element here. Doesn't matter. No one cares about the Bucks. The fun for this game is no matter what happens, there are the potential for positivity opens up the moment that clock hits quadruple zeros. There's nothing to be positive about going into this game. The Saints are eliminated from the playoffs. They don't have a top five pick. Their only opportunity to get a top five or six pick is they need multiple teams that are bad to win while they lose in order to have a shot at that pick. There's just not a lot going into this game. And you're like, that's what I'm going to hang my head on. And their rookie quarterback, who's shown a lot of promise, has a lot of talent, but has also showed some flashes of this is kind of why he was a fifth round pick, but also within context, not a great offense, particularly not a great passing offense, bad O line, bad weapons. Like we just don't know. There's too much we just don't know. We know Dennis Allen's a bad coach. We know Mickey Loomis is a bad GM, has been for 20 years. And we know that Derek Carr is on his best days slightly above mediocre and on his worst days, 16 different flavors of ass. And he's paid $40 million a year. Those are the things we know. None of those are good things. But the moment this game is over, we know our draft slot. Depending on how the game goes, like let's say Spencer Rattler balls out. Let's say Spencer Rattler completes 64% of his passes for 285 yards, 3 touchdowns, runs for another 45 yards, plays really, really well. But the Saints lose. A couple of these other, one or the two of the teams win. They end up with like the eighth overall pick in the draft. Let's just say that happens. A reasonable, optimistic thing. We've got a young, interesting quarterback going into next year that at least you can try to build around. Doesn't mean you don't grab another one in the draft, but at least you got something to build on. You know you need a 2-year plan to clean up your cap. So get Carr out of here because the delta between him and Rattler, it exists, but it's not that big. Okay, cool. That's part of the step. You get the eighth pick. You got a pretty good chance to get a real impact player in here. Those are all positives. But then also, now we can start talking about fun things. Well, who could be the next head coach? Maybe Mama Gail does good things, gets rid of Mickey Loomis, gets somebody better in place. And, some not very smart people will go, "Oh, you can't get rid of Mickey Loomis because you just don't know. Maybe the other guy is going to be even worse." Well, yeah, numbnuts, of course that possibility exists, in which case you fire the other guy. You don't not try to improve bad thing just because the other thing might be bad. You continue trying to improve bad thing until you get good thing. Welcome to being in charge of like literally anything, idiots. But like that's a positive. That could happen. Mickey could get promoted. Mickey could get fired. He's probably not going to get fired, but he might get promoted. Someone else might get actually put in charge of football things because pretty much everyone in the building agrees that Mickey's an idiot, except for Mickey. Unfortunately, other than Gail, right now, Mickey's the only opinion that actually has power behind it, which is a problem. So you can deal with that. Again, hire a new head coach. Maybe we get Vrabel. We've seen a decent amount of reports and intimations that, maybe Vrabel might be kind of sort of interested. And, if you follow the Block Party podcast guys, you kind of know, hey, he might be if a certain gum smacking idiot wasn't in a position of power. And maybe those two agendas, so to speak, can align themselves. But we get months to fantasize about the draft, and we have, I think, 5 picks in the first like 120 or something like that. Like you have a good draft, you get one, maybe two cheap, decent free agents. You get Carr out of here. You get, pick another old guy out of here. You start cleaning up your cap. You start building. Next year's not going to be awesome, probably, but it could be more fun, less depressing. These are the conversations we get to have the moment 4 zeros hit the clock. So there's your optimism. This is the last game for what has been a disappointing, frustrating, and depressing season, 16 out of 18 games. The first 2 games were heavenly, but it was a fever dream, unfortunately. Fever dream for Carr, a fever dream for the offense in general, a fever dream for Kubiak, and a fever dream for Dennis Allen looking anything remotely like a winner. But the dream ended, and we woke up, and reality bitch slapped us in the face like we made fun of their wife's hairdo. But that's all I got. There's just not a lot of optimism in Week 18. You're eliminated from the playoffs. You don't have a top 5 pick, and your cap situation and other elements are depressing. And your general manager is a moron, and you can't even tell for sure if your owner cares. But legitimately, we can hope for fun things to happen in the game, And if they don't, we can point and laugh and hope that it looks. I either want it to be a really fun game that shows promise for the future, or I want the Saints to get so hilariously whipped, whipped, like 52-4 whipped. And they only get four because Baker jokingly runs out the back of the end zone twice because he feels bad for him, like whipped. Because maybe that leads to Gale going, "Yeah, Mickey keeps telling me we're closed. He's an idiot. Be quiet, go." But I don't want that. I want the good, fun, close game where you lose at the end and the other teams win. Like that's our best case scenario. But regardless of what happens, you go look at the last decade, you go look at the last 2 or 3 decades. Turnarounds happen. An unexpected turnarounds happen almost every year. You get a good coach, ideally. You at least see a shuffling of the roles within the front office, if not a complete replacement of Mickey Loomis within the power structure. You hit on a couple of draft picks. All of a sudden, you're a fringe playoff team. You're feisty. You're fighting. Year two, you're ascending. Year three, you're a problem in a good way. That's not an unrealistic track. Between now and the draft, we get to dream about all that stuff and mock draft and analyze players. We're going to do all that kind of stuff here on the channel. And hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. And hopefully, my ramblings, if anyone made it all the way through this, um, aligns with at least how some of you guys feel. And if you don't, as always, you can let me know in the comments. Like I'm perfectly cool with people telling me I'm an idiot and the Saints are awesome and it's just the injuries and Carr's a top 32 quarterback in the league and you just don't understand. Go for it. Like, as long as you don't cross lines, I won't cross lines. You cross lines, I'm gonna cross lines. That's fine. But yeah, this is the last game of the year. Hope everybody finds a way to have fun of it. And I think there's legitimately going to be a lot of opportunities for optimism and positivity the moment those 4 zeros hit. Because what a year it has been.